I am kneeling beside you, my love. My hands are trembling as I touch this cold stone. Forgive me for listening to the wrong voices. Forgive me for leaving you when you needed me the most. Forgive me for choosing comfort over love. I was weak, I was afraid, and I let others destroy what we had. If love could bring you back, I would give everything I have left, all that remains of me, just to hold you one last time. I am sorry, Durnee. I am truly sorry. I will never forget you, never.
This is the story of a man who married the love of his life. Together, they welcomed a son into their world. Every day, their laughter filled the corners of their home, bouncing off the walls and lingering in the air long after they had gone about their tasks. Their smiles were contagious, drawing admiration from neighbors, friends, and even strangers on the street. People would watch them walk hand in hand through the bustling city streets and whisper among themselves, wondering how two hearts could be so perfectly in tune. Who wouldn't want a love like theirs? A love that deepened with each passing day, that grew stronger not despite life's challenges but because of them. They followed each other everywhere, sharing every mundane task and every exciting adventure, as if life itself had stitched them together in a single thread. No one could imagine them apart. After years of courtship, filled with stolen glances, secret letters, and quiet conversations that stretched into the night, they finally stood together at the altar. There, they exchanged vows that promised unity, hope, love, and a lifetime of shared dreams. Each word spoken was heavy with intention, each smile was a silent promise of devotion, and each touch was a reminder that they had chosen each other above all else. Even in those early days, it was clear to anyone who saw them that their love was not ordinary. It was something rare, a bond that seemed to glow quietly yet powerfully, illuminating everything around them. And as they walked out of the church, hands intertwined, hearts beating in rhythm, the world around them felt just a little brighter, as if their love had left a trace in the air that no one could forget. A few years into their marriage, Adure discovered she was pregnant. Durnee was there every step of the way. Most nights, when cravings tugged at her, he would quietly go to the kitchen, preparing whatever she wanted without complaint. It was not just a small gesture, it was the kind of love that made her heart swell with gratitude, a love that said, "I am here, always." They carried the pregnancy together, every worry shared, every discomfort noticed. Durnee never allowed her to feel alone, and in her quiet, reflective moments, Adure understood the depth of his devotion. She knew then that this was a man who would not just love her in moments of joy but stand steadfast in moments of uncertainty. When their son, Durnee Jr., arrived, it was as if their love had multiplied. The tiny life in their hands became the living proof of their bond. Watching him sleep, feeling the weight of his tiny fingers curl around hers, Adure felt a kind of joy that words could never capture. The foundation of their love, their marriage, was firm like tiles cemented to the floor, unshakable. And yet, in those quiet, contented days, they never imagined how fleeting stability could be, or how life could decide to test even the strongest bonds without warning. Then life shifted abruptly, violently, without notice. Durnee's company suffered a massive downturn. Colleagues who had laughed with him, shared late-night coffees, and celebrated small victories together were suddenly gone. Durnee, too, was laid off. The world felt colder, harsher, as if overnight it had decided to strip away the certainty they had built. Life became like a car stuck in thick mud, unable to move forward, unable to reverse. Every step felt heavier, every breath more burdened. Adure watched him as he stared at the ceiling, hands on his face, trying to process the blow. She saw the tension in his shoulders, the silent panic behind his eyes. A part of her wanted to scream, to demand solutions that didn't exist. But another part of her simply wanted to hold him and tell him, "We'll survive this. Together." And yet, even in those moments, there was fear, a creeping uncertainty that whispered, "What now? How do we rebuild what life has taken?" Adure had never worked after school. She had trusted Durnee's guidance, had embraced being a stay-at-home wife and mother, believing it would bring her peace. Now, that peace had shattered. One evening, her voice trembling, she turned to him and asked, "My love, what do we do now? Our world is falling apart before our eyes." Durnee, exhausted and lost in thought, muttered, "I'm not in the mood to talk, I have so much on my mind." Her heart ached. They had a son to care for, responsibilities that could not wait for despair. She pressed on, insisting, "We have to figure this out. For him, for us." Silence filled the room. The weight of uncertainty pressed down on them, suffocating yet unspoken. And in that silence, Adure realized that sometimes love alone is not enough to shield you from the storms life sends. In the following days, Adure sought counsel from her parents. She tried to explain the mounting pressure, the sleepless nights, the fear in her heart. Her mother, wise and compassionate, said softly,
"Remain good to your husband. Durnee is a good man. You have come this far together."
"Remain good to your husband. Durnee is a good man, and you have come so far together." Yet friends whispered a different story. "A billionaire is interested in you," Alora said, her words coated in temptation. "Leave this struggling marriage. Hunger is not love. Life is too short to suffer." Adure lay awake that night, thoughts spinning. Could leaving him bring relief? Could it give their son a better future? Poverty tightened its grip, pressing down on her chest, making her question every choice she had ever made. And yet, a small voice inside whispered, "Be patient. Choose wisely. Do not be swayed by promises of comfort or wealth." Confused and desperate, Adure felt herself standing at a crossroads she had never imagined. She turned to her parents, hoping for guidance, for clarity. But instead of comfort, she received a verdict that shattered her heart. "Divorce him quickly," her father said, his voice firm, as if the decision had already been made. "We cannot sacrifice your son's future on the altar of hardship," her mother added, nodding in agreement. "I know your husband is a good man, but your son's future must be protected. No compromise." That evening, trembling, Adure approached Durnee. Her voice, once warm and loving, now carried an edge of exhaustion. I want a divorce." Durnee could not believe his ears. He pleaded. He crawled. He cried, pouring every ounce of his soul into her hands, begging her to reconsider, but Adure hesitated, caught between duty, love, and the pressure that had become unbearable. He had already lost his job, a blow that broke him in ways the world would never see. Now, losing her, losing the woman who had been his partner, his confidant, and his anchor, was a second, crueler wound. Adure left that night feeling torn, her conscience battling her desperation. She knew deep down that the man before her had done nothing but love her, yet the pressure of poverty and the temptation of escape whispered that another path might bring relief. She started living with her parents. One day she sat her mother down. "Mother, I am surprised you supported my separation from my husband. I thought you loved Durnee so much. Like I told you before, I am more concerned about the future of my grandson now than anything else, so this shouldn't be a topic to discuss about. Change is constant." Adure and Durnee started going to court, and a few weeks later, the court ruled that Durnee would have full custody of their son, a bitter consolation to a man already fractured by circumstance. But before the divorce could be finalized, tragedy struck. On a quiet Saturday afternoon, while Adure was at the market to shop for her parents, Durnee was shot dead outside his apartment. The world seemed to pause in shock. Neighbors froze. Sirens wailed in the distance. And somewhere in the midst of it all, Adjure received the news, her heart shattering into fragments too sharp to piece together. An investigation began, but years passed with no answers, no justice, no closure. The man who had loved so fiercely, the father of her child, had been taken by a hand unseen, a life snatched away in an instant. And through it all, the silence of unanswered questions hung like a heavy curtain over Adjure's soul. She walked through her days haunted, carrying grief, guilt, and regret as though they were a second skin. In no time, Adjure married Benjamin the billionaire, stepping into a world of opulence and wealth she had only imagined in dreams. At first, it felt like relief. Comfort replaced the gnawing hunger. Luxury surrounded her, every desire fulfilled before it could be spoken. Yet peace remained elusive. The billionaire fell ill. Money could not cure him. Doctors could not reverse the course. And soon, he too was gone, leaving Adjure once again with a life she had not asked for, a mansion filled with silence, a wealth that could not soothe her aching heart. Benjamin's family, protective of their legacy, turned against Adjure. "Go far from here, you witch. You and your child aren't wanted here," Benjamin's brother said. Benjamin's mother accused her of killing his son because of his wealth that would never be in her possession. She was cast out, the riches she had known slipping like sand through her fingers. And all the while, the shadow of her past, the choices she had made, the love she had abandoned loomed over her like a storm that would not pass. Life has been harsh, and years of sorrow had left Adjure wary and cautious. One afternoon, she met her old friend Alora on her way to a nearby restaurant. She was shocked to see Alora in a disgusting state, so unkempt. Memories of whispered temptations, advice to leave Durnee, and betrayal still haunted her. She needed answers. They went to the restaurant together and Adjure confronted her. "Alora, you told me to leave Durnee. You encouraged me to betray my marriage. Why?" Alora hesitated, panic flashing in her eyes. Then, the shocking truth revealed itself. A man, hiding nearby, fully exposed Alora's latest betrayal. The friend who had once guided her was caught in the act of adultery and chased out of her home. I didn't mean for it to happen," Alora stammered, her voice trembling. Adjure's heart ached. The woman she had trusted had sown destruction in her life and hers, and now the evidence was undeniable. Before Adjure could react further, her phone rang. A voice instructed her to go immediately to the police station. "Your parents want to speak with you. Please come immediately." Her heart sank. She obeyed and went with Alora. At the station, she found her parents waiting, faces pale and eyes filled with guilt. "We have a confession to make," her mother whispered. "We killed your husband," her father said, voice trembling. Shock froze her. "You did what? Durnee didn't deserve to die now." "How? Why?" Then the father said, "He was a barrier to our plan. Your billionaire hubby wanted a son, and the court decided to give your son to your husband. That would destroy every opportunity that would change our lives. So we had to take him out." She trembled, opened her bag and sipped alcohol from a little bottle. Over the years she had been addicted to it. "Madam, please don't do this here," an officer said. "So you people are murderers? You killed an innocent man because of another man's wealth you had eyes on? Shame on you both." Her mother said, "Don't say that. You knew your hubby was a good man, and you left him. That man loved you. At least you would have turned us down even if we told you to leave him. You ran after a billionaire. Don't you have your own sense? If you hadn't brought such an offer to us, he would still be alive." Adjure screamed, "Shame on you. You are going to spend the rest of your life in prison." Lest I forgot, your friend Alora was part of the plan too. So wherever she is, go and get her. All of us must suffer together. Adure was shocked to her bones. Outside, Alora, who had followed her to the station, overheard the confession. Terror gripped her, and she ran, vanishing into the streets, never to be seen by Adure again. Adure left the station, her heart heavy, looking around, but Alora was gone. The weight of betrayal and loss pressed down on her like never before. The next day, with a heart heavy from grief, guilt, and betrayal, Adure drove straight to Durnee's grave. Tears blurred the roads, her chest aching with years of regret. She knelt beside him, placing trembling hands on the cold stone. "Forgive me, my love," she whispered, voice breaking. "I am sorry, for listening to others, for leaving you, for letting this happen." The weight of anger, betrayal, and despair began to lift slowly. She understood that some choices carry consequences that cannot be reversed. Wrong advice, even from those we trust, can bring ruin. True love, however, waits silently, even through storms we cannot see. She hugged her son tightly, feeling his small heartbeat against hers. "It's just us now," she whispered softly. "But that is enough. Luxury could not restore peace. Wealth could not erase guilt. But love, resilience, and hope, the bond between mother and child, were gifts no one could take away." Looking at the streets, the memories, and the people who had shaped her past, she smiled softly. "We will rise again," she whispered, steady now, resolute. "Together." And in that moment, Adure realized, even when life strips you of everything, what remains, the love, the lessons, the hope, can be enough to begin again.